You're watching Gearz, brought to you by LNC Truck. Keep them on the road.
Hey, welcome to Gearz. You know, a while back, we started a project called the SR-71 Rapid Tool Express, which involved taking a '59 Ford panel and crossing it with the DNA of the legendary SR-71 Blackbird to create the world's fastest tool delivery truck to commemorate the 100th anniversary of Cornwell Tools. Now, with the chassis and the drivetrain laid out, the interior pretty much done, we're down to the final details like engine accessories, paint, fins, taillights, that kind of thing. Now, when it comes to fins, there's two schools of thought, big or little, and size does matter when it comes to fins. For example, this is a 61 through 63 Thunderbird fin. It's a nice petite little fin, got some trim on it. And then, of course, this is one of the biggest fins ever put on a car, the 60 DeSoto. Now, anytime you have a body with this much mass, well, you need a pretty substantial fin or you're just not going to see it. And that kind of defeats the purpose of even putting a fin on in the first place. Now, what we did is take a 60 DeSoto four-door, we cut out the rear door section, and as you can see over here, I'm in the process of making a single fin out of the front door section and the rear section, and it's going to taper down nicely and terminate right at the door handle. As you can see, this is the shape. If you look down this thing, you can see the angle. This is really going to be a cool fin. Now for taillights, I had a unique challenge because not only were these original style taillights not going to look right, but I also needed something that looked like a jet engine coming out of the back of the truck. So the hunt was on, and what I finally found is the perfect taillight in a 61 Thunderbird. Now, I'm not going to use the whole assembly, that's too big. What I am going to use is this centerpiece. Look at that. That is a perfect little tail light. I've already got the flange made. It'll be mounted like this. It will be angled properly to look like it's coming out. Then there'll be metal work done around it so it looks like an engine going into the truck. The bad news is these are not available reproduction. The good news is the Bird's Nest carries used Thunderbird parts as well as new Thunderbird parts. So you can still find this stuff. Now, the whole point of having a panel truck is having some sort of cool logo here on the side to give the truck its identity. So, taking the concept of the world's fastest tool delivery truck, we created a logo with Eldon at the Hot Rod Institute, and then we measured out just how big that logo needs to be. Now, this takes into consideration where it's going to fit on the truck, how it's going to center, how it's going to be over the rear tire, everything. Then we took all that information, sent it off to Auto Trim of Northwest Ohio, and this is what we got back. Our special logo in the proper size, a left-hand and right-hand side, and all printed on heavy-duty 3M vinyl. So these aren't just stickers. This is actually vinyl wrapping material that's going to handle the weather, the sun for a lot of years to come. Now, since this truck is going to be a blend of serious power and streetability, it's important to understand how we're going to make those two things work together. Now, obviously, those John Kaase SR-71 heads and that long block he put together is a powerhouse. But the magic of getting over 1,000 reliable horsepower on pump gas lies in that 871 blower sitting on top that we got from the blower shop. And the only way to understand that magic is to take you inside that thing. Packed inside that billet case are two 60-degree, three-lobe rotors that were designed and developed over the many years that the blower shop has been involved in top fuel and other forms of racing. Teflon strips on the lobes bring tolerances down to approximately the width of a piece of paper to increase the efficiency of every rotation of those rotors. This allows a TBS supercharger to produce incredible amounts of reliable, stable power when bolted on a blower-equipped engine like ours. In this case, 1,030 horsepower at 6,500 RPM and 950 foot-pounds at 4,500 RPM. And it'll do it all day long on 93-octane pump gas. Now, that's great for the power part, but what about the drivability part? Because obviously the engine needs an alternator on it, but if we're going to drive this thing at all, we kind of need air conditioning and power steering as well. And as you can see, there's room to put all that here behind the blower belt if we can get it to fit. And the best way to do that is with a serpentine system like this one from March Performance. As you can see, we have air conditioning, an alternator, power steering. It comes with a new water pump, and of course all kinds of brackets and pulleys. And we've got these laid out in such a way where you can see how one belt is going to run all of these accessories. Now if you look at these brackets and pulleys closely, you'll see that March puts a clear coat on these so you don't have to polish these all the time. And if you want to protect the raw metal on your water pump or your power steering pump, a coat of shark hide will do that. Now, this is the good news. The bad news is this was made for a stock big block Ford, not one with the supercharger on it. So, if you're going to do this kind of thing, you need to understand that you're probably going to have to modify the pulleys on the supercharger or on this system to make it all work together. Now, one of the biggest questions that I get about this project is what paint are we going to put on it? Because most people know that the SR71 had a very special paint on it. It was not only high temperature, but it helped shield it from radar. And obviously that paint's not available. Heck, most government officials will tell you it didn't even exist. But it did exist. And fortunately, we have some friends in the military, and when they heard we were doing a tribute to the SR71 Blackbird, they pulled some strings. Come on, I got something to show you. Now, what we have here is a few gallons of that magical stealth paint that doesn't exist. I'm not kidding, this is the real deal. Now, since this is actually a current military paint that is used on certain vehicles, there's a lot of classified stuff that I can't tell you about this. But what I am clear to tell you is that this will pretty much make you invisible to radar, infrared, night vision, all that kind of stuff. Now just let that sink in for a little bit.